Okay, I think just one moment. There's always a little delay between the restream platform that we use and Instagram, recognizing that we've gone live. So just waiting for that to catch up, and then I think we can. Oh, bear with me.
Oh, it says we're live.
Officially say that we're live. So, 1 second. Let me get it up on my Instagram. I'm on the wrong account. It would help, wouldn't it, if I was on the right account? Yeah,
I had a technical glitch this morning when I came on. I was like, my camera's not working. What's happened? What's happened? And I was like, shut it down, came back on because I'd not slid the little button across at the top.
Oh my gosh, these small, tiny technical issues. But anyway, here we are in the live lounge this Friday, last Friday of May. Good morning, Kirsty. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm so glad it's the end of May.
Are you? Why are you glad it's the end of May?
I don't know. It's just been such a chaotic month. I've had loads of exhibitions to be planned. So it's just been like really, really busy, and it's been half term, and a lot to factor in, isn't there?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Right.
But we're here. Welcome to anyone that joins. Sunshine Flowers 88 has just joined. Good morning. And as always, this live it happens every Friday at 10 a.m. UK time on the More Than a VA Instagram channel. And then it's posted 1 week later on the VA Live Lounge podcast, which you can find on all your normal podcast streaming stations. And we've had some brilliant episodes. This is actually episode number 10. How exciting. Yes, it's so new, but it's been so insightful, I think, so far.
Yeah.
Everything that we've spoken about. And we've had some amazing guests. And we've got some amazing guests lined up, to come as well, which is great. I'm just going to turn off my notifications. No, I'm not. Doesn't seem to matter whether I turn them off or not. I still seem to get them. Right, and okay. And today we're going to be discussing, listening while sorting my 5-year-old out. That's what Sunshine Flowers 88 said. Oh, it sounds delightful. I remember those days. My children are teenagers now, and so I can just leave them to it. But I remember how difficult it was when trying to run a business with a toddler running around. It's like just never ending, isn't it? We've got a few more people that are joining now. Good morning, everybody. It'd be great if you could drop a comment, let us know where you're listening from, where are you in the world. And today we're going to discuss whether or not it's really possible to earn 6 figures as a virtual assistant, because I don't know about you, Kirsty, but I do see a lot of claims. There's a lot of claims out there in social media anyways to say, the 6-figure hustle kind of thing, I think. And that's not specifically for the virtual assistant industry. And you see it all the time, trying to bait people into, you can earn 6 figures. And that's all very well and good, but can you earn 6 figures, particularly in this industry, which is more important? And you do see a lot of VA mentors and coaches, some who are absolutely amazing and legitimate and some who aren't, who claim this as well. So I think by the end of today, we should have a real honest viewpoint on whether or not it's actually possible. And disclaimer, neither one of us, unless Kirsty's hiding something from me, are earning 6 figures right now.
No.
Is anybody else earning 6 figures? Let us know.
If you are, let us know.
There's a little bit of playback, Kirsty. Have you got this on somewhere else as well?
No,
that's weird. Okay, right. So, okay, we're going to discuss it now. The one thing is, people always say 6 figures, 6 figures. They don't put a monetary value next to that, so it sounds like really amazing. But I think the human brain is we're not really thinking about the figure. What does 6 figures mean to you, Kirsty? What jumps out as a figure in your mind, like instantly, without thinking about it?
I'd have to try and work it out, because actually, I don't think I would ever earn a 6-figure salary in my life. Like, what do you say is a 6-figure salary?
Well, it's the first 6 figures you get to ever in your life is £100,000.
You can't unless exactly. So unless you're, you know, in any top, managing director of, I don't know, British Airways, then no,
Well, that's
you
it.
can't.
Podcast over. The live won't finish.
See you next week, everyone.
There's no point going any further. But maybe you're wrong. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Is it possible? And let's get really clear when people are talking about six figures and the terminology they're using. Are they saying earning? Are they saying bringing? Are they saying turnover? So that's the big question, because when you put it like that, £100,000, that, you know, I think the reason people use terminology like six figures is because if you was to say, can you earn, or do you want to earn £100,000 in your VA business, no one would even look at it, because you'd be thinking, well, that's pretty impossible. But six figures sounds more achievable, doesn't it? Because no one really attributes that to one to the other. You don't really put it together, do you? You just think,
no,
it just sounds like a big number. It sounds possible, but actually £100,000 sounds less possible, I think, personally. But maybe it is possible. So I think the thing we have to get clear about here is turnover versus profit, right? So is it possible to turn over six figures as a VA? I think yes, it's possible to turn. I do think it's possible, but you'd have to make some big changes to how you run your business. And there's no way, I don't think, you could do it as a solo VA.
No.
But could you earn six figures? Well, that's a different question completely. And I think one thing we can rule out straight away is, can you earn six figures, which is at the minimum £100,000, as a solo VA, just working one-to-one with clients? Let's just put a strike through that now and say no.
It would be nice, but it's not achievable.
I just don't think it is. And if someone can tell me that that's achievable as a solo VA working one-to-one with clients, then drop that in the comments, because I'm not sure how. Now the thing is earning six figures as glamorous as it sounds? Because actually, to get to that figure, you've got to do a lot of really, really hard work. And I always think there's a real sweet spot of where you want to get to in your earning capabilities. So what if someone out there is aspiring to earn six figures, then why? That's what you've got to ask yourself. Why do you want to earn six figures? Is it because you want to say you've done it? Is it because you need that much money? Well, I think the most important thing is to work out what you would love your financial income goal to be per month. And it probably isn't six figures. I mean, do you aspire to earn six figures, Kirsty?
No, and actually, as soon as somebody says that kind of thing to me, I often think that's not a 5, 6, 7, 8 hour day. You know, that's a 23-hour day, 7 days a week. So one comes in hand with the other. And I think as VAs, you know, the reason we are VAs is because we want to have that work-life balance, and putting that amount of pressure on somebody or yourself is just too much. You would burn out in the end. We've had this conversation so many times before where we've gone, you know, we're going to end up going down that road, we're taking too much on. At some point you have to say no. So I think it's lovely to have the that road in mind, that you're going to earn six figures, but then you've got to think about how you've got to get to that six figures.
Yeah, exactly right. And actually, we're probably the best people to talk about this, because we're very different in our approach. Like I'm like one of these people. I'm an entrepreneur. I love growing businesses, and sometimes I wish I could just be that person who just was happy with just doing what I'm doing and that's it. But I never am, because I'd earn more money if I did that, to be honest. but I don't, because I'm always trying to grow and do the next thing. And you're like you're not trying to grow a massive business. You're not trying to grow an agency. So you're a solo VA. I'm an agency, and you really value. I value my work-life balance, but you value it and more realistic about things, I suppose, than I am. Whereas the reality is, like you've just said, if you really do want to earn loads and loads and loads of money, you're going to have to do loads and loads and loads of work initially. You might not always have to, but you will in the beginning. And it's whether or not that's the lifestyle for you, isn't it? Do you want to do that?
This is the thing. And I think you're right to say that you have to do that in the beginning, but that beginning is going to be a long beginning. It's not going to be, 6 months down the road, I've worked 23.5 hours of the day, haven't seen any of my family, have not left my office, I've barely eaten, slept, done anything apart from work. Would you actually be there? I don't think so. It would take years and years to get that figure, I think.
Yeah. And but some people might want to. So let's explore then how that's even possible. And we've got a few people that said hi. Cameron has said hi. Clary Poppins VA has said out earn my husband. So does that mean you are out earning your husband, or is that your goal to out earn him? It's really funny actually, because I had this. My husband was a really good, had a good wage for many, many years. And then when COVID struck, he was made redundant. And I suddenly became the breadwinner, which was like, I don't know, it was kind of game changing for my self-esteem.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of pressure at the same time. So turnover versus profit. So I think easily, yes, not easily, but you can definitely turn over 6 figures as a VA. There's plenty of people out there doing it. Is it as glamorous as it sounds? Only when you finally get there and you're able to let the foot off the gas and you're enjoying the yachts and the amazing experience. But getting to that point, I think, is going to be really difficult. And would it really change anything for your life personally? I think there's a study. I can't remember what the study is, and I can't remember the exact figure, but it's something like there's actually a scientific thing that it's proven that when you get to about £75,000, that is the sweet spot, like turnover, a profit per year, if you can earn that, because actually you don't get any happier past that. And so what is the point then? I mean, I would not be able to spend that much money. I'm not very good at spending money now. So, maybe that's a money mindset thing, but I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't know what the hell to do with that much money. So I think that's another question to explore, isn't it? Like, why do you want to, if you want to earn that much, why do you want to earn that much? And would it make you any happier? Would it make you any happier?
To be honest, it's one of those things, isn't it? Because it's like a tier, isn't it? When you get to that 75,000, you go, right, now I want to do 100,000. But where's the barrier? Like, I would love to earn that kind of money because I'd love to be able to finish my house off. And we're very different like that. Like, I'm rubbish with money. Like, I just done my accounts this morning, and I've got subscriptions coming out left, right, and centre from Microsoft and Canva. If you looked at my accounts, you'd go, what the actual are you doing? But it would be lovely to earn that amount of money. Yes, I could spend it because there's so much that needs to be done. But once that's done, then what do you do?
Yeah.
You've got all this money, your kids are grown up. Where do you go from there?
Yeah. But actually, I think one of the reasons to not earn 100K or earn 6 figures, but to turn over, is to turn your VA business into a saleable asset. If you can have a really healthy turnover, then when you're ready to exit your business, you're more likely to sell it. And I sold a business. I sold my first business, not for very much money at all, because I didn't really turn it into a saleable asset. And that was the one thing I wanted to do this time, because I think a lot of VAs don't realize that when you start a business, you started something that you can sell, and they don't nurture it in that way. They don't look after it in that way. And what's the plan then? When you've decided to give up, you want to retire, what do you just let that go? Do you let all that work go? Do you let that brand that you've built just disappear down the drain? Or do you try to sell it? And wouldn't it be nice to sell it for something that can give you like a pension? It can give you an income for the rest of your life. And actually, when we had Wendy Norman on the show, she had a fantastic story, and she can sell her business that she's built for, I know behind the scenes the figure she's looking at, and it's a lot of money, and we are talking 6 figures. So it's definitely worth thinking about it from that point of view. Clary Poppins said that she and her husband are very competitive, so she wants to out earn him. And I don't think that's a bad thing to earn more money than your husband if you're a woman either. So when you hear someone say they're a six, have you ever heard anyone say they're a 6-figure VA for a start? Have you ever heard that?
No, never.
I've only heard coaches and mentors claim to get you there, but I've not heard a VA ever come out and say they've done it. And the thing is, like we've just spoke about, is it realistic? Because how many clients would you need? So if we look from the solo VA perspective, where you're trading time, hours for money, or you're charging for packages, there's absolutely no way you're going to get to 100k. Because you'd have to be working, you'd have to never sleep again.
This is what I'm saying, like, because it realistically, like, two sides of your brain goes, oh yeah, £100,000, right? Profit, turnover, however you want to do it. The other side, as I just literally thought of when we spoke before, was how many hours would I have to work to get to that figure?
Yeah.
There isn't enough hours in the day to be able to get to that figure, personally. I think.
No, I agree. There isn't not using that method, the solo VA method. There is absolutely no way you could ever get to, unless you're charging like £1,000 an hour and you're a top VA. You'd have to be like I don't know, a PA to the stars, and that's very different. You're not a VA anymore if you're then jet setting around the world with a celebrity. So talking about it from this particular point of view, I think you can't do it unless you change your business model. Right, so talking about the change in business model, I own LTVA Services, which is a VA agency, and that means that we work with associates. The difference with doing that is that the potential to earn six figures, not earn, but turnover and possibly earn, is there. So now we can look at it from that point of view. If you want to work with associates, develop your VA business as an agency, first and foremost, then you start to go into the more possible realms of doing this. And the reason is you release your capacity, because when you're a solo VA, you've only got so many hours, as we've just discussed. There's no possible way. But when you own an agency, then you can start to earn a profit on the work your associates are doing. But I want to be realistic about this. So I'm only in year 3 at the moment, going into year 4. So going to be totally candid about the realities of what that costs. Now, I put a lot of money into it because I'm constantly marketing, but also I have got other projects in the background that I fund. But I don't have to do that. And if where I am right now, I've got a team of, how many is on our team? I think there's 6 or 7. I think we've
6 or 7,
yeah, something like that. So that's all at the moment. So it's still very new. There's lots of potential to have lots more VAs, lots more clients. So this is like really super early days. And we turn over at about £10,000 a month. So the turnover is there. The turnover, six-figure turnover potential is there, obviously. I don't earn that much, anywhere near that much. So my bill, my outgoings per month are about £2,500 at the moment. Now I could reduce that right down and take a lot more money if I wanted to, but I choose not to, because I'm deliberately trying to scale the business, and you have to invest to do that, right? You have to. One day I will take more. I have an associate bill when I pay the wages out of about £4,000, sometimes more, every month. There's a lot of cost. So you can do the math yourself on how much you're actually earning at the end of all of that. And actually, I've got a post coming out to say, whilst my turnover is really good, my profit isn't. And that's okay for me right now, because I'm trying to grow and scale this business. And the potential for it to be a saleable asset is much better than it would have been had I just been a solo VA all by myself. I wouldn't be able to achieve what I'm achieving, and I actually wouldn't probably be earning what I'm earning, or the potential of what I can earn right now. But it's not easy. It's not easy at all going down that route, but it's worth it. And I think it's the one way you can definitely do this. It's not easy because you've got to put your trust in people. You've got to make sure you're the front and center of the business. You've got to know how to lead people. You've got to be very client centered and know all the clients. And you've got to, like for you, Kirsty's our client magic maker. You're like our account manager. You take care of all our clients. I've got massive trust in you. And I've got massive trust in our team, but it hasn't always been that easy, and it hasn't always been that way. And we've been burnt lots of times. But but by trial and error, we've got to a really great place where we now know how to vet our team. We now know who to trust and who not to trust. We now know how to package up our services, and that all can take a lot of learning, error and time, but it means you can do it, you can get there. But it's not easy because you can't, it just doesn't happen. You have to plow money in. So every bit of profit I earn, one of the reasons it's low profit is because I plow it back into marketing. So I pay Google ads and things like that. And you have to be willing to be realistic and do that. I think one of the, if your dream is to earn lots of money as a VA, I would personally say the first thing that you need to do is sketch out a wage that you're willing to take for now, but that's not your forever wage. It's something that will pay the bills, but accept that it's not going to give you a lifestyle right now. Because when you do that, you might just say, okay, well, I could live on £1,000 a month, but the other 2,000 I'm going to throw into marketing, I'm going to throw into this, I'm going to throw. If you're willing to do that for a few years, then you're definitely going to make it. But if what you're doing first is, oh, that's lots of money, I'm going to take it and spend it, you're never going to get there. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, it's not. And I think, you know, from my personal side, I am, like I say, rubbish with that side of things. I wouldn't know like what profit turnover I make because I just don't have that kind of technical business side. I wouldn't know where to start. And anybody out there that needs any advice, do get in touch with us. We'll be able to help you out. But just be like cautious of what you're actually paying out as well, because and have that kind of understanding of your outgoings, your incoming, so you can work out what profit you're actually making, which is not what I do. Not now anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I keep a record, and then every week I have a financial outgoing sheet. So I also track anything outside of my outgoings I'm spending. And then on top of that, I have an app audit. I call it an app audit, but basically every month I do a check of everything I'm spending money on, and I say, do I need to? It's broken into two columns, necessary and unnecessary. The necessary things are like paying the ICO, insurance, everything I have to pay to run the business. The other things are things I don't have to pay for and could release, and can I release them? And one of the problems is you can sometimes not realise that you're paying for subscriptions to things that do the same thing, and you can streamline that. And that one of the things we did is we were looking, when we started to scale this business and we had associates, we wanted a system that could bring them all together, and we could keep all of our assistants under one system. That meant their calendars were all there, so we could see when client calls were being booked. That the whole automation, the onboarding, everything was in one place, and we found that system and we've developed it. And now I'm going to be, I can't wait. But on the 9th of June, I've got a masterclass coming up, which is going to help people understand how you can use this system to scale your VA business if you want to go down that associate route as well. And it's a fantastic system because everything's in one place, and we're not having to, go here or there or whatever. We can just do it all in one, and we've got better control of how our associates are communicating with clients outside of the business. So that's important, but it's not the only way. There are other ways that you can earn income as a VA. And I think one of the brilliant things about being a VA is you learn so much on the journey. Literally, honestly, the things I know today, I did not have a clue about 3 years ago. And but you have to have that kind of mindset. You have to have that kind of proactive approach. So I'm the kind of person where I'll learn anything, and personal development is really important. So if you can I spent 2 years going on every course, every bit of training you can imagine to better my knowledge. And now I don't have to go on those courses, but I can use that knowledge to better myself, better my business, but also it's now my knowledge that I can sell on to others. So that brings me on to one of the revenue streams that you can bring into your business as a VA is selling digital courses. And I'm not talking about these bloody master resale right courses on TikTok, which are driving me mental. I'm talking about your actual knowledge that that you could then turn into an online course and sell. So that is something you can do, and you can still do that as a VA, because what I don't want to do is get into these murky waters of saying, well, you're no longer a VA. So you could be teaching clients how to use the Eisenhower matrix for time management, for example. So there's lots of let's say you've got a website and somebody comes, but they're not ready to sign up. What if you had a mini course on there that taught them how to better manage their time? What if you had a course on there that helped them with their social media? Think about your knowledge, what you know, and how you could turn that into something saleable. So you, Kirsty, you have expertise in selling on Amazon, you know, and a potential client might come to your website and say, I really want someone to do this for me because I don't have the time myself. And that's ideally what we want clients to do, to have that mindset where they don't want to do these things themselves, want to pay people. But most clients, or a lot of people, will come and still try and do it all themselves. If you're going to have people come to your website and they're not going to sign up because they're still going to try and do it themselves, then create an offering for those people.
Yeah.
And that offering, it could be a course where, okay, you don't want to employ me to come and do your, you know, your Amazon selling for you. Here's a course to do it yourself.
Yeah. It's quite interesting as well, because I know that some of our VAs that we've worked with in the past, our associates, are business coaches as well. So they do, you know, that's something else that you could consider if you know, you've run a business yourself or previously or whatever, you could look at being a business coach as well.
Absolutely. And there are lots of VAs that learn so much that they become coaches and mentors to other VAs. And it's actually an avenue I'm going down. I've been doing a level 5 accredited coaching program for the last year. And because I wouldn't want to just say I was a coach, and a lot of people do that. And it's a very unregulated industry. But you're exactly right. I mean, you can coach people out to, if you become specialized in, like, I don't know, boosting Instagram ads or meta ads, or you become specialized in, you know, social media. As a VA, this is what I mean. Like, you end up learning so much. You can now use that knowledge and turn it into passive income streams or semi-passive income streams. And by the way, passive doesn't mean you don't do anything. You still have to put the work in. So like you just said, you can now you could do some coaching. You could do some digital course selling. So on top of your VA agency, because that's what you'd have to do to ever even dream of getting to that 6 figures, you've also now can think about other passive income streams that can get you there quicker. One of the other ones is delivering workshops. So you could do that digitally, or you could do that in person, and I've done both. And it's been absolutely fantastic, because one of the things that people don't realize is you think everything you know everyone knows, and they don't. People will pay for what's in your head. They want to learn it.
Yeah.
So it's really sitting down, getting a pen and paper and thinking about all of your knowledge and all of the things you know, what you're niched in, and how you could develop that. Could you sell it as ebooks? Could you sell it as online courses? Could you deliver workshops? These are all other ways that you can generate income in your business. And there's lots of other ways as well. So you could do affiliate marketing. And there's loads of, like, for example, we'll come back to Wendy Norman, who came on the show. She's got a company called Speedy Calls UK. And so one of the things she offers is an affiliate program for VAs that don't offer telephone call answering, but she does, and you will earn commission. So it's a great way to just earn constant passive income by being part of affiliate schemes that are, you know, if you keep it in the VA industry, it's going to be easier for you to sell, because you're going to get clients coming your way that need that service.
Yeah.
And things like, so for example, I've developed partnerships with people that are specialised in HR, that specialise. We do lead generation, but we're talking more high-end lead generation. And so I know that if we have people come to us that want these services, I'm not going to offer it to them, but I can pass them on to these people and earn commission on top. So these are other ways that you can now start to bring in more money in your VA business. And there's loads of ways that you can do that, absolutely loads. So we talked about a VA agency, affiliate marketing. We're talking about courses, workshops. You could have a membership. Like, there's lots of other things that you can bolt on to bring in that kind of money. Would you agree?
I agree. And it's difficult, isn't it? Because as a solo VA, you wouldn't think of things like that unless somebody gave you that advice. You wouldn't think, you know, if I go back to when I started being a VA, and what I've learned now is just blows my mind. Like, I couldn't do, like, you know, if you think about the CRM system, when we first got that, I was like, this is going to be a nightmare. I'm crap with technology, as everybody knows, right? And I'm not shy about it. I don't care. I'm crap, right? We came on board, and it is the easiest thing to use, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so easy. If I think about things like the lead generation I've done, social media that I've done, you know, Amazon that I've done, all of that kind of thing. But you wouldn't necessarily go, I could sell that. I could make a little course, charge 100 quid or whatever for how to sell on Amazon, and that's another income for you, isn't it? But again, I wouldn't ever think about stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's why we're here. So that's why people are tuning in today to hear this kind of thing and think, oh, I never thought about that. I'm going to do that. If anybody listening has got other revenue streams that you're using in your business, your VA business, to help you, you know, bring in more income, then drop them in the comments. It'd be great to hear some ideas that we maybe haven't explored. But there are lots. So, for example, if you delivered a masterclass and it was a free masterclass, even if it's free, and you've got lots of people signed up because now they're in your mailing list, you can then repurpose that recording as a mini course or a saleable asset. So now you can sell it. And the thing is, by building up an agency instead of a solo VA and developing that business to a saleable asset, it means you're going to be able to now offer other services that you can't offer on your own. So, Kirsty, you've just said you're not technical and you've become a lot more technical, but you couldn't offer tech VA services under your own brand. But if you become an agency, you could.
Yeah, you could, and I would never ever say I was massively technical, not like some of the team that we've got. But yeah, if I became an agency, then I could advertise that service.
Yeah, so you could specifically say, I'm going to develop my agency because I want to serve this industry, but you don't need the knowledge for that. Like it's like Uber. Uber developed their business. They're not the people behind Uber never drove a taxi in their lives.
Yeah,
you know, they don't need the knowledge. They just need the drivers, right?
Yeah.
So you could say, do you know what? There's a real gap in the market here for, I don't know, let's say people that need legal services. They need legal services cheaply, not going through solicitors. And so what if I developed a team that specialized in particular, you know, areas, HR, for example, or maybe you had people that they wrote contracts. And you could now offer these services, but you don't know anything about it. You haven't got a legal degree. You don't know a thing about the legal world. Well, that's how a lot of big businesses are built. They don't have the knowledge themselves. They bring in the people that know. So there's that way, but also there is just still you being a VA and developing your VA agency, but now you've got tech VAs because you're not technical, so you've got other tech VAs. You've got social media VAs because you don't want to do social media. You've got other people doing that. There could be HR VAs. Honestly, like literally, think about, you know, all of the different ways that you could now be earning money and the opportunities, the doors that you can open that you just can't do on your own. It's not just about capacity; it's about skills. So if you can bring people in with the right skills, I mean, we've got Demi on our team. I'm a tech VA, but she knows so much about WordPress that I flipping hate WordPress, but you know, I have to, but I really don't like it. And yet she knows so much about it and it's so brilliant that I would be so confident now to develop more people, to bring more people in that new WordPress. And actually, I can have a whole page on my website that's dedicated to WordPress services.
Yeah.
But I don't do WordPress. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right, because I suppose if you think about it in this way, Richard Branson's not a pilot, is he?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, talk about Richard Branson. He's brilliant because he had a PA for years and years and years, and she actually went on to work and I don't know if she co-founded, but she's a big part of a Time Etc., which is a big PA agency, and she was Richard Branson's PA. And he talks all the time about he couldn't have done it on his own. There's no way he could have built that. And you can't build anything on your own. You just can't. There are no solo trillionaires or billionaires out there. They've all had to help people. So I think when you think about, we've had a lot of guests on the show that I think personally, some of them are going about things the wrong way. They're talking about how well they're doing, but they're doing it all on their own and they're maxed out. Like that's not success to me. Like it might be success to you, but to me, it's not success because you just can't grow any further than that. So if that's your hope and dream, it's not going to happen. But taking on associates becomes, for some reason, a stumbling block. And I think it's because a lot of VAs naturally are control freaks.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that it's putting that trust in someone. It's developing a brand and then worrying that someone's going to ruin it. It's all the things that you're trying to encourage your clients not to worry about, and you end up worrying about it yourself. But it's also ego. You know, you can do it better, you can do it right. If you can let that go, if you can change your mindset and have, okay, I want to earn lots more money, and I've realised now through listening to the VA Live Lounge every week that I'm not going to do it on my own. I'm going to have to do something differently, and associates is definitely one of the ways to go. Then you can start to then think, once you get past that block, okay, well, if I do start working with associates, what does that look like? What specialities do they need to have? Where do I find them? How can I bring in, who do I want to serve? So you can start to niche out. You can start, if you're not niching out already. So honestly, like, for me, it's game changing. It's not just having associates on the team, it's knowing that there's a support system there. Look, how many times in our private chat does someone say, oh my God, I've got a client that needs this, I'm not sure what to do, can you help me? And we all help one another.
So it's difficult, isn't it? Because for me, like, I would love to have somebody just do all of my admin for me. Like, I'd love to be able to do that. But from a solo VA, I would be terrified, because I wouldn't, I've got to then train them, and then B, I've got to let somebody else in. But you're right, you can't look how you started. And then you were like, I've got to delegate, because you can't do it. If you do want to get to that point, then you have got to bring people on, and you've got to just, it's so difficult. And I speak to people all the time at all the client interviews. The first thing people say to me is, I'm really worried, I'm really nervous. And of course you are. It's your business. You've built that business up. But if you do want to build the business side and earn more money, you've got to bring in people, employees. Because I think, wasn't Wendy employed VAs?
She employed VAs, they freelance. So that's another way you can do it. So she on employees instead of associates. And I think that just made her feel safer, that there's a bit more reassurance there. So that's definitely another way to do it. But I just don't think you can do it without going down that route. And if you decide not to go down that route, but you step away and you become just a coach, or you do lots of other different things, you're not a VA, you're not really a VA anymore. So if we're keeping this in the VA remit, yes, you can do this by building up an agency. You can do it by adding additional revenue streams. So, selling digital products, selling physical products. There's lots of things. There's also things like one of the services we offered for a while, but we've kind of like stopped doing it now, was in-person minute taking. So we had like VAs across the country that we like kind of stored on a map, and we would have them go out to do physical minute taking, and you can charge a premium for things like that. So there's that as well. I sometimes in my local area will run exhibition stands for people. So you can also, these are things that are worth a lot more money, because you're physically having to be there, and and you can charge for your travel expenses and all that kind of thing. So it's really thinking about, I want to earn this much. How am I going to achieve that? And how many of those things do I have to sell? And so it's like thinking about all the things we just mentioned. Is it that you're going to offer a premium service where you show up in person? Is it that you're going to do affiliate marketing? Is it that you're going to develop an agency? Is it that you're going to sell digital products? Is it that you're going to offer courses? Is it that you're going to have a membership? Or are you, if you're sticking at the package system, which I do strongly believe in, what can you do to change the income on that? Can you charge more? What about a retainer? Could you have like a minimum spend on a retainer? What could you do to charge £1,000 a day? Like, what service would you have to offer to bring that in? So, and it's not impossible, it can be done. And actually, if you were charging those kind of prices, you would be looking for a more premium client. People are really going to be willing to pay that kind of money. And the market's there. It's definitely going to be there. So it's up to you to think about, well, how do I find that out? Let's go do the market research, and let's get realistic about how I'm going to get to 6 figures.
But you don't have to do everything at once either. Like, you just pick one and put all and everything into that. The digital courses or the membership, whatever, and just see how you get on with that. Because once you've got one, the confidence is there to do another and another and another, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, it's a more radical way of earning a lot more money is moving to a new country. Right now, just bear with me on this one, right? Because,
Is it
for
Barbados?
example, well, I toured Southeast Asia for 5 months, and I fell in love with Bali. If I moved my business to Bali, so if I operated from Bali, my income would be worth a lot more because of the cost of living in Bali is not for the people there, but for me as a Brit and the income I can demand here, my money would go a lot further if I lived in a country like that, where going out for a meal is going to cost me like £2 instead of costing me like 30 quid. Do you know what I mean? So I could like literally move into a detached villa with a swimming pool and live like a queen, and have a very different income to what I've got living in the UK. So it is a very radical way of doing things, but it is absolutely possible.
Yeah, it's funny because we had this conversation the other day because Craig's very much like wants to move to a different country, like when Imogen's done whatever she's doing and whatever, and he's like looking at all these villas, and he's like again looking at cost of living. And you're right, if you lived in like Portugal, your bills would be like way down, your profit would be more.
Yeah,
but you'd be away. I'd be away from everything. Actually, it sounds quite appealing.
Yeah, it's true. But for anyone that's joined, recently and haven't, joined from the start, one of the things we've discussed is the realities of, can you earn 6 figures as a VA? We don't think that's possible to do that as a solo VA on your own. Is it possible to turn over 10 figures, 6 figures? Sorry, definitely 100%. But it's way more achievable to do that as an agency. Or to add income streams, so other ways of bringing in income. You can definitely do it that way. But can you do it as a solo VA? Well, unless you don't sleep, go to the toilet anymore or eat breakfast, then probably not going to happen. Or you'd have to be charging an awful lot of money. But I do think, can I ask you a personal question? When you first started as a VA, what sort of price per hour were you charging?
To be honest, it was, oh God, I can't even remember now. I think it was like 22, something like that, because I didn't have the skills that I've got now. So I couldn't really, you don't really know what to charge. You don't want to price yourself out the market, but then you don't want to go, well, I want to earn, my hourly rate's £1,500 an hour, because they'll go, absolutely not, for a start. But now I've been able to increase that hourly rate because I've got the knowledge that I've got now, and I can expand on what I can offer.
And the thing is, that's so true. If you're going to be a solo VA, well, you have to know your skills to know what you can charge. I mean, I was charging something like £15 per hour, and now it's £50 per hour. But the trouble is, a lot of people keep it low because they think no one will pay for that. Well, actually, they will pay for that, and if you charge more, they'll think you're more worth it. The other thing is, it doesn't matter what your skill set is. You could still be Kirsty, who was charging £22 an hour if you had an agency. But now you can charge £50, £60 an hour because you've got all these specialists on the team that know way more than you. So that's the other way of looking at it. So that's why developing associates in an agency is so important. Why do you think some VAs are against taking on associates?
I think it's the fear, isn't it? I think we have learned in the past. We've had VAs that have stolen clients from us, and I think that is the fear. And I think it's having access to, behind the scenes type systems, CRM systems, for example, whatever, emails, whatever, it just makes people nervous. It just makes people nervous because they don't want somebody else stealing their ideas, and taking that kind of that client or that information or, learning. And it just makes people really nervous.
Yeah, I think so. But the other reason a lot of associates I've learned come into becoming associates is actually because they don't want to market themselves. And therefore, you'll probably, I'm not going to say it doesn't happen, because it does happen, where they have and will take clients from you. And that, I think it doesn't always happen in a really malicious way. Sometimes it happens in a way where they've just been with you for so long and been with that client for so long, they've developed a relationship with the client, and the client has then had a private conversation with them and said, look, you know, if I decide to cancel my services with them, can I then come work with you? Now, that VA is probably going to say, well, I can't really say that that's the right thing to do, but they're also not going to turn that client down if the client decides to then come and sign up with them. So I can understand from that perspective how that happens. And that's probably why some agencies have a clause that says, if you want to work directly with the VA, you have to pay. We have it in our agreement that you would pay up to, I think it's 6 months of what that cost would have been, what our loss will be. But then you essentially buy the client from you. So it can be done in a really honest, open and ethical way. But I think one of the things that protects you a lot is a lot of associates come into it because they don't want to go out there marketing themselves. So they're not trying to build businesses in that way. So you're kind of protected from that. But at the same time, then you've made it easier for them because you've given them the client.
Yeah, I mean, I am one guilty for that. I don't market myself. I've done a little bit on LinkedIn, never done anything on Instagram. I don't have a website. And for me, being an associate has made me what I am today. Like, without that support and without having your support and the support from the agency, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. There would just be no way, not just from a skills point of view, but more from a confidence point of view as well, because I was so timid and so low in confidence when we first started working together. But being an associate, I mean, I don't work with any other agencies. I've only got one or two other clients that I work with separately, and all that support is provided for you, and the ability to be able to learn things from that agency. I mean, I couldn't even do an article on bloody LinkedIn when I started working with you, and now I'm like doing my eyes closed. It's bad. So there's so many benefits to being an associate. I would definitely recommend it if you're just starting out. Definitely becoming an associate is a good starting point for you. You don't have to do it forever. It just gives you, and actually personally, I would never in a million years steal a client, regardless of whatever, if they came directly to me, it's just never do that, whatever you do, because it's non-beneficial in all ways.
And karma is a bitch.
Yes, exactly.
If there's anyone listening that is working with associates, how's your experience been? Let us know in the comments. If you want to and you haven't taken the plunge yet, what's holding you back? And I think what you just said is really important. You feel supported. And I think if you can create the right environment in your agency for associates, it can make it really successful. And I think that's one of the things I got wrong to begin with. And now I feel that we've got that right. I mean, right after this show in 10 minutes time, it's the last Friday of the month. We have our final Friday coffee and chat. We do that on the last Friday of every month. We get our team together. We have a call for an hour. It's just our chance to take care of them, to make sure they're all right, to check in, to make sure they've got no clients that are causing them problems. And, if you can create the environment where you're supportive, you're offering training, you're checking in, you're remembering them on their birthday, you're going to create a loyal associate base. And that's really important as well, because I think some lead VAs, they just have an associate. The associate kind of goes off and does their own thing and they don't really speak. We keep everything very internal. So all of our associates get access to an internal email address where we keep everything in our internal chat. And because of the system that we use, our account management system, which is super powerful, all of the calendars are in that system as well. They access their client information in there. We can keep notes in there about, literally everything is in that system. And by creating that environment, I feel like we've got literally the best team we could have ever imagined having. Like, we were in an awful position about a year and a half ago, and we really got shat on.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And, I could not have imagined then being where we are now.
No.
So it's incredible.
It is. And I think also just going back to having that team support, when you're a solo VA, you can't just, when you're in an office, you can go, oh, or when you're a solo VA, you haven't really got anybody you can ask. You can chat GPT and all that crap, right? But if you've got someone there in a group chat says, oh my God, this has happened, what do I do? Or hi everyone, anybody, one of the VAs messaged me yesterday saying, I just need a rant for 5 minutes. And I was like, absolutely fine. After that, she was like, right, see you later. That was it. So it's just about having that support base as well, that you can just rant, then ask a question, get support. So definitely.
So if you're listening and you're thinking, you know what, actually, I want to get out of this 2K income barrier that I'm at. You keep hitting the same figure every month. You can't seem to get past it. And the idea of growing your business or working with associates appeals to you, but you don't know what to do. Then I've got a masterclass on the 9th of June, 3 to 4 p.m. I believe it is UK time. You can register via the link in the bio at More Than a VA on Instagram. You can also go to morethanava.org and it's on there as well. Register for your free spot, and we're going to be talking about how you can do this. You can ask questions after the masterclass, so you can really get that more personalized, support. And we're going to be covering exactly how you can scale your business, the exact system that we use, and how you can use it in your business, and how you can definitely break that income barrier. And it is achievable. But to recap, can you really earn 6 figures as a VA? Well, the answer is yes, but not easily. And more importantly, you can definitely turn over 6 figures more easily if you are a VA agency and you add revenue streams to your portfolio. That's achievable. I know it's achievable because my business is doing really well, so I know it's achievable. Can you earn it though? Well, if you're an agency and you've got the additional revenue streams, you probably can. Not without a lot of work and effort, not without probably burning out. And the question is though, do you need to? Do you want to? Why do you want to? Why is it important to you? And what will you have to compromise on to get to that? I think the question is more important. If you keep seeing posts that tell you about earning 6 figures, remember what 6 figures actually is. It's at the minimum £100,000. Okay, just let's be clear about that. Do you need that kind of money? Why do you need that kind of money? Will that make you happier? And if the answer is probably not, then instead think about what you actually want to earn. Think about what your income goal is and how you can achieve that. And the only way you can do that is you have to start with an income goal. Then you have to break down what you're currently doing. Look at what you're currently offering. Look at what you're currently selling and say, okay, to get to that, once I pay out my overheads, how many of those things do I actually have to sell? I'm going to be, spoiler alert, you're probably not going to achieve it. So the only way you're going to achieve it is you've got to go down a different route. And that's the truth, I believe.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And don't be fooled by these posts, because turnover and profit are 2 completely different things.
Yeah.
I could constantly bombard you all with my amazing turning over 10K every month, and that's just at the beginning. I'm not even at the point I want to be, so it's only going to go bigger and better. But that's not what I'm earning. I'm not earning 10K every month. So let's be really, really, really clear about that. Yeah, it's a massive difference. But yeah, I think it's good. It's good to be clear about it. It's good to understand that, the potential is definitely there, but to be realistic about what your goals are and what you want to achieve in your VA business.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's it for today. I don't know if we've shattered any dreams, really, or if
I hope not.
or if we've given people actually some inspiration.
Everyone's marching down the job centre now because of us.
Hopefully not. Now, if you haven't asked any questions today, but you wanted to, then you can always drop us an email at info@ltvaservices.com or support@morethanacrm.com. And you can also reach out, DM us on Instagram, More Than a VA, or visit morethanava.org, or you can find us at I Am More Than a VA on Facebook and join the Facebook page as well. In the podcast show notes, which will be next week, we will leave the links for everything. But if you do want to register for the masterclass because you do want to start earning more and you want to work with associates who are not sure how to get started, then please visit morethanava.org to register for your spot now, or head to the link in the bio on Instagram. But it's been an insightful chat, Kirsty. Thank you. And we'll be back next Friday at 10 a.m. UK time in the VA Live Lounge, and we'll see you there.